welcome to Cora's Ballet Coaching. Today I wanted to take us through the splits. Now, whether you've been doing it since you were this high, whether you're new to them, this one's really great because it can progress every day, every month, every year to we're finally doing the splits that we've oh so desired. So, two things to get warm before we try our splits is our hamstrings and our hips. So if we have our legs out in front of us, we reach up to the sky and we try and touch our toes. Now, if you can't yet touch your toes, go to your knees. But if you can touch your toes, you might want to just creep out day by day. Eventually we'll get down and you want to try and put your head to your knees or shins. So, if we are down in this position, a good way to get an added stretch is to flex our feet up. Now, when I flex my feet up, I get a really big nerve stretch all the way down. So this is actually a good one, even if you're up a little higher, it's a good one to get an added little bit of stretch in that neural kind of chain. So feet are flexed, we're working our way down, and we're really feeling that stretch. Awesome. So now that our hamstrings are a little warm, we're going to warm up our hips. So we're going to come into a froggy position, which is our feet together and our knees to the side in a bent diamond shape. Okay, so your froggy might be a little bit more of a long diamond, or it might be a little bit narrower. So you want to eventually crawl your heels into your pelvis to make a narrower diamond. A good way to stretch this, if your knees are a little higher, if you just apply a little bit of pressure with your elbows to push your knees down, that'll be really, really great. And then once the knees are down a little further, the heels are as close to the pelvis as you can go. Good way to add stretch to this is to reach our arms forward and day by day, reach them a little further, little further, little further until we can put our head almost to the floor. Now this is a really good stretch through the hips to prepare for our splits. Great. Awesome. Shake your legs out a little bit in front of you. Okay, now we're going to come into our center splits now that we're a little warm. You do only want to do your splits when you're warm, so after exercise is a really good time to stretch your splits. So our legs are in front of us. We're going to bring them out as far as they will go for you. So you want your knees to remain straight. You don't want to bend your knees up. You want them to remain straight, and you want to push them out as wide as they will go for your range at the moment. So once you're in your position that's really good, to add an extra stretch here, we're going to reach over to the side. So I'm going to reach my left arm over. The right arm is going to feed through this way so it gets out of the way, and we're going to reach to the side. Now you want to continue to reach as far as you can go. Now, if you're getting to the side, again, an added way to get stretch is to flex that foot up. So I'm flexing my right foot up and I'm pulling myself even closer to it with my left arm. So that's a really good way to get an added stretch. Now, we've got to go to the other side because we don't want to be uneven. So we're feeding that left arm through, right arm over the top, and we're reaching to the side as far as we can go. And then eventually we'll flex that foot up and we'll pull ourselves a little bit further. But this is really good just to get into each side. Now, the next thing for our center splits is to reach forward. This is the dreaded reach forward. So you want to, day by day, reach a little further forward. Now, whether your splits are only here, reaching forward will also still help. So you reach forward, eventually you get your elbows to the floor, and then we'll get our tummy to the floor eventually. And then the end goal here is to be able to do a roll through. So a roll through is where we go all the way through and our legs come behind us, and then we roll back the same way we came. Now, not everyone's roll through will have your pelvis flat to the floor. So a good way to practice this is to push your body weight up over your hands. And if your pelvis comes off the floor, that's okay. And to roll through that way. And then you can roll back the same way you came, up over your pelvis, back until your legs are out in front of you. One thing we do want to try to achieve with our roll throughs is to keep our legs straight. So we don't want to kind of bend our legs. We want to have stretched legs, and eventually that gap between your pelvis and the floor will get smaller, which is really cool. Okay, so that's our center splits. Now we're gonna do our right and left splits, and my left is my least favorite, so I'm gonna do the left first because we often have to practice our bad leg like twice as much as our good leg. So I'm gonna start with my left leg, and the way I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get up on to my knees. I'm gonna bring my left leg forward into a lunge. I'm gonna have my hands on my knee, and I'm gonna push my pelvis forward. When I'm as far as I can go, I'm gonna put my hands on the floor. I'm gonna stretch out my front leg. My body weight is in my hands right now. And then I'm gonna slowly stretch both legs out and lower my pelvis to the floor. Now this might take a little while to get your pelvis all the way to the floor, but as long as each day you try and go a little further, so your body weight's in your hands, a little further each day till eventually we're on the floor. Now if you're in a flat split, one way to add extra stretch to this is to reach forward and lay down on that front leg, and we can even do the same thing and flex our front foot up as we did in our center splits to get that added stretch. Now the thing with our splits is we do want to try and have stretched legs. So even if you're up here, having stretched legs is really going to help that end goal. Awesome, guys. Bring the legs to the front, have a shake out, and we'll go to the other side. Cool. So up on our knees, right foot comes forward, hands on our knees, bringing that pelvis forward to a lunge. We put our hands on the floor, we stretch that front leg out, we take our body weight into our hands, stretch both legs, and lower our pelvis to the floor. Voila. Okay. For that added stretch, once we get there, whether it is a year or 10 years time, we're going to stretch forward, lay across that front leg, and flex up that front foot for added stretch. Great, guys. Now our pelvis won't be completely square, but we do want to aim for a square pelvis, but it's kind of impossible for it to be completely square, but that's what we're aiming for. Bring the legs in, shake it out. Now guys, your splits, they will get better, whether it's day by day, just pushing that millimeter more, eventually they'll be great. But always do it when you're warm so you don't hurt yourself. I hope this has helped, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope your splits are rocking.